Hey guys, what's up? PipSnipers here, back for another update. Let's take a look at XRP over here. This is going to be a daily XRP update for you guys just before New York lunch, Eastern Standard Time. Now, what we see over here on the weekly time frame is we don't see any weekly close below the 200-day moving average. I keep reiterating this in all of my videos because I want to show you guys the underlying strength that XRP is exhibiting. Now, when we take a look at this range, we can see here that we've been within this range for about 147 days. So about let me see here. Yeah, 140 days within this range, 147 days within this range. And you guys can see here that this was the lower end of your range right here. And you can see that every single time we wick to the lower end of the range, we had a pop to the upside, a significant pop every single time. So over here, we wick to the bottom of the range, we popped up, right? And then we closed over here. Over here, we wick to the bottom of the range, popped up. Over here, right? Every single time we wick to the bottom end of the range, we have a nice pop to the upside. Now on the 119th day, we actually had a body close right at the lower end of the range. So this was our first weekly body close at the lower end of the range. You can see that there is no closes. There was no closes at the lower end at $1.91, 1.9184. So what happened the week after? The week after, we had a body close at the lower end at 1.91. We then pierced it. We then pierced below it and then ended up piercing below the 200-day moving average then the week after that. And then if you just waited for that weekly candle to close, we retracted back into the range, back above the 200-day moving average. So this marks our fourth week above the 200-day moving average, and that'll be confirmed within 2 days and 9 hours. So if we just take a closer look here, we had this death candle right here. This was your suicide wick, piercing the close and the low of the previous week and then retracting back above over 50% of the previous week's price action. So that's already bullish as it is. And then the week after that, we formed a doji. The week after that, which was last week, we formed a bullish engulfing. And now this week, if it closes exactly like this in 2 days and 9 hours, then it's very likely that we're going to see continuation higher to around 270 to 288. Now, the reason I say 270 to 288 is simply because when we take a fib from this high over here, on January 16th down to this low on April 7th, we can see that the 70.2 is sitting at 271 and the 786 is at 288. So I do expect these highs to get breached as long as we can get a 4-hour close above $2.33. I think we're eventually going to get it, just judging by the way the weekly looks, as I was showing you guys. But basically, all we would want to see is just a move above these highs right over here. So what we can do, what do I mean by we need to see a 4-hour close above $2.33? That's simply because when we take a fib from this swing high on April 13th down to this low on April 20th, we can see here that we weren't really able to get above that 1.382 extension. Now, the reason this is important is because whenever you have a B wave or a flat pattern in the crypto space, you tend not to go above the 1.382. You stall out. So there is still a possibility that this is your A wave, a 3-wave move down. You have a 3-wave move up for your B wave and then a C wave flush back down to the 200-day moving average, maybe even wick down to $1.91. To be more specific, it would come down to these Fibonacci retracements here if we're not able to get a 4-hour close above 233. Okay, so these would be all of the retracement levels. And you can see here that the 38.2% fib is right there just underneath the 200-day, or right at the 200-day. But we may wick below it at $1.95 to solidify the bottom end of our reaccumulation range as support before we have healthy continuation to the upside. Now, in the case we get above $2.33 on the 4-hour and get a 4-hour close above it, or even just reach up to these highs, then we could say that it's likely going to have continuation up to our weekly point of interest, which would be sitting at 271 to 288. So now don't forget, we need to see how this weekly closes in about 2 days and 9 hours. I will definitely update you guys once we get closer to that. Once we get closer to that close, and once we see the close come to fruition. But so far on the weekly, it's looking good, as long as this week prints a doji. So you may not get above $2.33 this week, but if this week closes as a doji, then it's very likely that we'll see a push higher next week. Okay, so now we can see here that when we take a fib on XRP from these highs here down to the low, we can take a look at all of the major fibs. So we'll take a look at the 1.618, 2.618, 3.618, and 4.236 extension. We can also add the 4.618 in there. Okay. What we're also going to add is the inverse of the 786, which would be 1.786. Okay. And we can see here all of the next targets above 288. So remember, if we get a 4-hour or a daily close above 288, which would be the 78.6% fib, measured from the range highs down to the range lows, then it's very likely we're going to head towards 447 and 478. Now, we may see a little bit of resistance come in here, and if we do find some resistance there, you could take some partials, not financial advice, but we'd mainly want to be targeting the higher Fibonacci extension sitting at around $6 to $9, $6 to $10, right? Now, you can also take a fib from the 2018 high down to this low over here, and we can see that the 4.236 extension is right there at $13. 3.618 is at 11, and 2.618 is at 840. So from $5 onwards, you'd want to look to start laddering out of your position, not financial advice, for the anticipation of a peak coming in, right? So you could just form boxes like this. You could just see that anything above $5 would be considered your danger zone, especially above 6. Okay, so these are the two levels that you'd want to be taking a look at in order to de-risk on your XRP position. Now, don't forget that XRP has only done 5 waves within its impulsive structure to the upside. This is your pennant right here that we've been ranging in for over 2,300 days, right? This was an ABCDE triangle pattern, right? You have a 3-wave move down from 2018 down to 2020 for your A wave, 3-wave move up from 2020 to 2021, right? So you have a wave 1, you have a 5-wave move in a leading diagonal, a massive flush down for your B wave bear trap, and then another 5-wave up for your C wave. So that would be an ABC up. And then you have an A, B, C down for your bear market, another A, B, C up for your flat pattern from 2022 up to 2023, and then your last ABC down, your last ABC down for your E wave. Now we're starting our impulsive move to the upside, going back to July 8th, 2024. this was your wave 1. This is your wave 2. This is your wave 3. You had a reaccumulation structure for your wave 4, right? And then now we're within our 5th wave to the upside here. Okay, so we are within wave 5 of 5, right? Because this over here in 2018 was your wave 3. This in 2024 of June, July was your wave 4. And now we're working on our wave 5 of 5 to the upside. Okay, now there is a possibility that we extend all the way up to $14 because that would be the one-to-one extension of this 5th wave. But that doesn't mean wait to take profits until we get up there. It just means that that could be a max target. So 13 to 14 bucks. Let me show you guys here. Right here. So 11 is a big target because when we take a fib from the 2021 high down to the 2020 low, you can see that the 3.618 extension is at 11. And then when you take a trend-based fib to find your 5th wave, the 88.6% fib is at 11 as well. So don't focus so much on like what price, like don't focus so much on what price you're going to sell at. Just like don't be so hyper focused on that. Just look to scale out of the position as we rise. Okay, that's what you want to do. Don't be so fixated on catching the exact pico top, right? You want to just scale out as XRP rises up to these levels, just so you guys don't end up becoming a bag holder. And that's the last thing I want for you guys. So something I also pointed out in the previous video is the 3-day MACD on XRP. This is the MACD over here, right? Now what we can do is go into the settings of the MACD and just change the time frame to the 3-day. And you guys can see here that we are curling up under the 0 line. So whenever the MACD is curling up under the 0 line, then that shows that there is momentum that has yet to be seen, right? So we want to have this continuation up. We see a green tick on the histogram, our first green tick since January 2025. Yeah, so it's looking pretty good here. So you can see that the signs of life are starting to show on the XRP chart. Now, if you guys haven't caught my total altcoin market cap video, please go ahead and take a look at that. It'll give you a little bit of a better understanding of where the rest of the market is. And you can see that coins are starting to show signs of life. Now, I believe from now to... So I think that the market is bottomed, and from now to around May 14th, we'll start to see the parabola steepen. And when that parabola steepens, then you'll see the sentiment change very quickly, and everyone will become bullish. Right now, people are still on the fence, but we as analysts, and with you guys being informed, you guys can position yourself before the masses realize. All right, so position yourself before that parabola steepens. And I think that now would be a great time to dollar cost average into your favorite altcoins that are showing signs of inherent strength. And remember what I said, there's 2 things you want to look for in order to find strong coins, and that's number 1, price-based capitulation and time-based capitulation. We already have price and time-based capitulation here on XRP. We went sideways for 147 days, and we dropped by about 52% from peak to trough for this wave 4. For most of the altcoins, other than the ISO ones, we've actually dropped more than 60 to 80%. So there's even bigger opportunity, right? But if you are an XRP holder, continue to because we are going to see some exciting times ahead for the rest of 2025. If you guys want to stay updated with XRP along with all of your favorite assets, then click the link in the description below to join the Discord. This is the Discord right here. It's a really cool community. You get access to over 350 charts over here. You guys can ask me any question you guys want, and I'll be happy to answer you guys. So these are all my members asking me questions. I'm just answering them right here. Right, so you get all of these coins over here, right? Really nice Discord. Everything you guys want analyzed, I can analyze it right here. And remember, if I'm not uploading on YouTube, then it's likely because I'm busy in the Discord, so with my members. So if you guys want to reach out to me, if you guys want to connect one-on-one, then definitely click the link in the description below. Join the Patreon, and I'd be happy to assist you and work with you. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. XRP is looking strong. We want to see a 4-hour close above $2.33, and if this weekly closes as a doji in 2 days in about 8 hours, then it's more likely than not we'll see continuation up to around 271 to 288 next week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out and take it easy. See you guys in the next one.